I'm going to tell you a little bit about the behavioral-driven fan engagement and how to turn that loyalty into revenue. But before I tell you a little bit more about myself, I want to plant some numbers into your heads. Because if you look at the clubs with like 25,000 seats, with like 18,000 season ticket holders, and a no-show rate of 15%, which is about the European average, and I'm guessing that at some of your clubs it might be even higher. We're talking about the 46,000 empty seats per season. The seats that already are sold, so you're not able to actually like sell them again, and you lose twice on them because apart from like the revenue that you could get from reselling them, you also are losing every euro for a fan that would have spent on like food and beverage and merchandise. So if we do the math here, it's around €1 million per season for that size of the club. And it's sad that those tickets that are sold are not the tickets that are actually being utilized. And that is just like one of the 4 major leaks that we have identified by talking to and working with different European clubs, but also football federations across the world, to be honest. And my name is Marcin Dyguda. I currently run an AI innovation lab at Open Loyalty, which maybe is not close to football as of now, but football is close to my heart. That's why I'm here. And we're very much into like the football industry. We have really great two flagship partnerships with our clients that I'm going to base this presentation on as a case study, which is Club Brugge that you might be familiar with, but also a United States Soccer Federation that we're working on, especially now when the World Cup is coming in. And I wanted to start with one of the sentences that I would like you to bring out from this session, is that the loyalty is not a cost center, at least it shouldn't be. It's a revenue driver. And for the last couple of years, we've been talking to many different clubs, and this is a marketing excellence summit, which is that marketing teams mostly would like to do some loyalty programs, but I know that in a lot of like boardrooms from the clubs, there's like this circulating information that, I lost deals over it, that people are saying, hey, but we cannot like monetize our fan base more. We don't want to milk them, so-called. And if you're designing a loyalty program or a fan engagement program, and that is like purely transactional, they are actually right. Like, you shouldn't be doing this because that is actually milking it, like your fans. But with the behavioral-driven approach, and if you add a gamification layer on top of it, you can actually have a beneficial cooperation for both sides. So for the business side and for the fans side, because the fans are getting something that they are actually care about. So the status, the rewards, and the business gets the attendance. They get an investment from the fans, because I also don't like when we're speaking about fan spending, because the fans are actually investing into the clubs on the match days. So if they buy a beer, if they buy merch, whatever, they're actually like contributing to the next transfer window. They're contributing to the youth academy. So we always try to change the narrative, because this narrative is really, really important, and we always try to speak about it as the investment. So I want to talk about those 4 major leaks that clubs are experiencing. I also will tell you how to tackle them and try to back them with the real-life proof. And the first act, I actually made them in 2 acts, and bundled them because they are similar. They have the same phase. So in the one that I call the empty seat economy, we have 2 major leaks. One is a no-show leak. The other one is a resale league. A no-show league, as you probably know, this is a season ticket holder who cannot make it to the game, but they also don't have the ability to release their ticket. And on the other hand, there is somebody who would like to buy a ticket, but they can't because there is no place. And both of them are actually happening at the same time before even the game begins, right? And what we're missing here is the marketplace, of course. So the technology here is non-negotiable. This is something that is really crucial and the foundation of how to tackle those leaks. And when we have the foundation, so when the technology is there, we can start bundling behavioral-driven approach with the gamification layer. And with that, you can imagine, Saturday morning, a fan wakes up, they feel sick, they open the app, they click, hey, release my ticket. And there's another fan that opens the app and they buy this second-hand ticket. And you as a club, what you can do is you can incentivize this behavior. So you can give points, give badges to a person that is actually releasing their ticket to make sure they will do it the next time something will happen. And this is, again, kind of an investment from their side to actually, the club will not miss the revenue and the club will not miss the 12 players, so the atmosphere will not be hit with that as well. And if we're going to look at the proof for that, because the Club Brugge has actually is actually applying it, and they've actually applied it this season. I actually made a mistake and put in spend per fan, but I wanted to put in the other metric that Thomas was mentioning, so that they've seen 17% more tickets actually have been released, and over 52% of the tickets have been resolved, and they've seen an uplift of over 11% in the attendance to the game, which was apparently massive for them and drove a lot of revenue. So they've actually recovered a lot of the revenue that otherwise would be left on the table. The next one is the Matchday Wallet. I call it that way. And this consists of the two other problems that we have. So a Matchday spend leak and a traffic spike. You can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but from what I heard from other clubs is that 60 to 70% of people are coming in less than 30 minutes before the kickoff. And this makes, again, big queues at the entrance, a lot of the traffic around the stadium, and this makes that the window of the investment from the fan is really small. So people are rushing in through the gates. They see big queues at the food and beverage. They don't even see the merchandise because it's essentially invisible for them, because they see that we have 15 minutes. I would love to grab a beer, but I do if I manage to do it, but then I just run into my place to be there at the kickoff, and the window of spending actually closes. So what do you do to make sure that you can resolve it somehow and retrieve some of that revenue? So we also did some calculations, and 40 to 60% less people are spending less when they arrive late. And it's not that they don't want to spend the money, they just don't have the time to do it. So you want to work on extending this window. You want to see that you're incentivizing them to come early, essentially. Because if you extend the window from 15 minutes to 45 or 60, we're not talking about small uplift, we're talking about different business model, essentially. Because if you do it, of course, incentives are not enough. You just cannot tell them, hey, come early to the game and, I don't know, give them points for that. You need to do some more marketing work. As I've been speaking with different clubs from America, and mostly from United States. And not only like soccer or football, but also the NHL. And what they've worked on is that they've made it more appealing to their fans, like, creating a live podcast on a concourse. They were doing like a pre-game fans shows. So again, it's not only about like getting more revenue from that, but also about building a better atmosphere, because it's more organic to like have it almost like an hour before the game, instead of like this simple cold start at the kickoff. And when we have done the math, it's over 1 million euros for, again, a 25,000 seat club with 18,000 season ticket holders. And if you start fixing the first leak, which is like, more people coming into the game, those ones become much more easy because you're working with a fuller stadium. So this is the second tactic. And again, if we're looking at the live proof, an example from Club Brugge, because they were actually using the same tactic, they've seen over 13% spend per fan and almost 10% people arriving early. And I know that they're doubling on that next season. So because they know this works. This also, flattens the traffic spikes. You extend, people coming into the stadium. The queues are smaller. So again, it's not about squeezing the revenue, but it makes all the operations around the stadium much easier with that. But what I didn't yet tell you is that rewards matter more than the point that you actually give to the people. And for example, with Club Brugge, they have actually designed their fan engagement program around the single number, which is 1,891. And it is a small, like I call it the golden nugget, where that you design your program around your heritage. Like, this is the year that the club has been found, and this is how many points you have to get to be in the highest tier, which is how you can use your history inside of things like loyalty and fan engagement programs. You don't wear it only on your shirt, you also wear it in your wallet, which is great. And also, fans are seeking, and we've seen this because the clubs are also doing the surveys. We know that the fans want things that they cannot buy. And those things are perceived as being more valuable. So the rewards that are status-based rewards. And if we start, thinking about what can you do, you can layer it with the gamification. So not every fan has to get a reward, but for example, you can add a raffle on top of it. So people, you tap into the human psychology, and people are excited to get into some kind of like a game, a raffle, a scratch the card, they spin the wheel, and so on. And you don't have to give a reward that cost you much, because, for example, if you have a challenge of coming to a home game 5 times in a row, and you're eligible for getting a VIP parking spot next to the entrance. Not everyone will get it, but one person will, and this is a reward that almost costs zero, but is super priceless for a fan. Or a spot at the conference, at the press conference. This is like a cost of zero essentially. For you can all again apply a gamification. A fan with the highest digital engagement throughout the season gets a spot at the press conference. And for them, is like bragging rights for the rest of their lives, right? And for the club, cost is zero. And we have applied the same exact playbook at the USSF, leading to the World Cup 2026 with their Insiders program. Completely different scale, completely different audience, essentially completely different business in that case. And there's also a case study on our website. They were selling out whole stadiums by applying that exact playbook. This is a different business on the back office because they also are heavily utilizing B2B. I don't know, Americans are great at that, utilizing a B2B approach, and actually their partners are giving them the rewards. So again, the cost for them is nothing because the partners are paying for everything, of course, for being visible. And I want to bring again to that sentence that loyalty is not a cost center, it's a revenue driver. If you incentivize the right behavior, the revenue will follow. And with that, I wanted to thank you all for listening to this presentation. I've put in like all the materials, like the case studies and so on. If you scan the QR code, if you'd like to learn more about it. There's also one more thing that I put in there. I called it Fun Engagement Canvas. This is like a multi-step interactive form where you put in your numbers and you can see how big the revenue leaks might be on your club and how much of that you're able to recover. And there's also a list of like 40, I think, or 30 plus gamification tactics that are tackling different problems like digital engagement and all those leaks that I've mentioned. Thank you.